guys, I'm Ray and we are streaming blacksmithing. Welcome, welcome. Evening and good afternoon to those of you who are, it's afternoon. Hello, hello. Hey guys. Welcome back from Christmas, I guess. Um, so, today we are going to kind of relax a little bit. I am a little bit still reeling from all of the stuff that we did over over my break. I got a little bit of a break, but I'm still a little bit tired. So instead of doing something really big today, I think we're gonna do a smaller project, and that's going to be a trivet. I am still planning on doing our cauldron, but as I forgot to post some polls on what kind of design that you guys would like to do, we're going to start that next week. So, hello everybody. We are going to start with a trivet. So right now I have 5/8 round. No, it's not 5/8 round. I think it's 1/2 inch round. So that in millimeters, it's probably like 7 or 8 millimeters diameter. And then these are 6 inches long. These are 3 inches long. We are going to do a I guess a 6-piece trivet, but it's going to have 3 sides to it. Seems a bit reverbery, not using your usual mic. I am using my usual mic. That's so weird. It does seem a little bit louder than normal, though. I don't know why. Like, I feel like I'm peeking out a little bit worse than I normally do. Let me turn that down just a little bit. Things and stuff. Test, test, test. 1, 2. I don't know. Let me try this. Make sure that I'm okay. I've got my canceling on. I don't know why we're Kenny. Apologies. Uh, it is a different sound. That's really odd. I don't know why, because it's. I'm gonna press in all of my headphones and everything, making sure that everything's all hooked up and nice and stuff. One more time just to make sure that I haven't like accidentally done something crazy. It's not bad, it's just different. It's totally fine so far, just different. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I'm peeking out a little. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm not usually used to watching on the laptop. I'm on the phone at work. Oh, okay, that makes sense. For at least for that. But I don't know why it was tinny. Maybe it was because I like the plugs weren't all like in the same fashion that they normally are. Anyway, it sounded better when you were in the other spot. Okay. Interesting. Hmm. That's strange. Very, very strange. It says that it's recording and that we're in there. Very odd. Um, I don't think so. While the ad is going, for those of you who are still here, I am going to. Is the camera mic on? I don't know. Let me go. The butler is home. Let me see if we can't troubleshoot something. I will be right back. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I think we should be back. Yes, the butler is on their way to kind of help me troubleshoot a little bit. Probably just like, in the house, maybe come out. I don't know if you'll see a butler appearance. uh, I think that I'm on the laptop mic, to be honest. That's what it sounds like to me, but I don't know why it would be that way. Oh, I bet you that's why. For that pop. Do you guys hear that pop? Because I think what was going on is we had the laptop mic and I plugged in the thing and because it was not all the way there. There we go. Yeah, I think it's because I didn't have it all the way shoved in. I think we're good now. All right. I'm going to turn on the forge because it is freezing cold in here. And then we're going to get started. Okay. Well, I guess I won't need the butler's help. I figured it out on my own. Oh, it just levels back up? I can do that as soon as the forge is on. There we go. Good? I think so. Cool. All right, let's turn us back up again. We're a little bit quiet. Let me use these. These should work. And then I lost my video for a second. That's really odd. I don't know what was going on there. I really don't know. I apologize. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I noticed that there was a weird buffer in there. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. It's like every time I take a little break or every time I get an update, some screwy thing happens and I get a lot of scuff again. I apologize. A few times today. Interesting. Honestly, I don't know. It looks like my frame rate's doing all right. Huh. Well, it is incredibly windy today, and hopefully, we've got some stability after, the blinks. And we should be back and ready to go. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood.
It sounds like it's coming from the loft. It doesn't sound like it's coming from here.
I pushed the thingy in the laptop further, and it popped back in.
Okay.
So now I'm just getting like weird internet bleeps, I think.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of like latency for your.
Yes. So I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Hey Yankee, hello everybody. Just wanted to time, and now it's all good, but we're buffering again. Oh, okay. Apologies, I don't know why it's being unstable. I mean, I could probably refresh my laptop, but I think that's about the only thing that I can really do. Okay, OBS seems to be doing all right. I didn't have a buffer problem until Sandwich said something. Let's see, my monitoring is kind of delayed because I've got OBS over there and I've got regular. Okay. So that was interesting. My monitoring is now blinking out too. It's gotta be something that's between the laptop and Twitch. I'm not sure, because like I've got two monitors, right? I can see OBS's monitoring, but then I can also see like Twitch's monitoring. So
somewhere between my laptop and Twitch, there's like a weird lagging. So hopefully that'll straighten out. It doesn't seem to be doing terribly bad right this second. But I'll bet you, I'll bet you. I think the butler is watching the stream and monitoring a little bit. If they have something to comment on this, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. Norse Herald, welcome to the stream. Hey guys, seems to be clearing up. Okay, hopefully, fingers crossed. Ugh. So if you guys could believe, it was 70 degrees yesterday, and now we are down to in the teens. And obviously, or well, I guess not obviously, but that is in Fahrenheit, as I am really bad at the translation between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Just as you said that, there was a brief pause affecting the video only. Oh, so annoying. Yes, I know, Butler. I'm supposed to show off my shirt. Okay. I will show off my shirt even though it's freezing in here. Okay, so my mom made a thing for me. These guys are not for sale or anything, so, unfortunately I don't really have anything for you guys yet. But yeah, my mom made me a Ray's Smithy shirt. So they're really cool, and she designed the picture and everything. So I'm like super excited about them. I think they're cool, and I'll probably wear them. Like I said, I don't have any to sell right now, but I do have 3 of the silk screens, and we will probably put those up. Yes, one more heat. Yeah, so we will probably put those 3 that I have. Like I said, I have 3 more screen prints that we can iron onto shirts. And what I'm thinking about doing is doing a giveaway for them. If you guys are interested in owning one, we'll probably do a drawing for those 3. That way we're not selling them, because I don't know that we can really sell them because I only have so many of them. But yeah, I think giving them away would be a fun thing to do. So if you guys are interested in acquiring one, I will see about figuring out a good way to give those away. So that, a couple shirts will be out there. I also, if enough people are interested, I will try to kind of put something similar design up on like a t-shirt purchasing website so that you guys can acquire them as well. It probably won't be the exact design, but I'll try to make it as similar as possible. That'd be cool. Yes. So yes, one more heat with the lowercase t, just like the sign. So Christmas was really fun this year. Like I said, my mom made these shirts and gave them one to everybody in the family. And like I said, I have 3 extras, but they're not on shirts yet. So that makes it good if I give them away. That way you guys can give me what shirt size you'd like, and I can iron them on a shirt for you guys, and you can win them. Yeah. So another amazing thing that happened to me this Christmas is I got enough money as far as Christmas presents that we were able to purchase the jacket somewhat anti-stereotypical. From my understanding, this would be typical for male woodworker. Something like that. But yeah, I got enough money that I have an order in for a jeweler's torch. So it is an oxypropane little torch. You can take a look at those on Rio Grande, which is a jewelry supply shop. So yeah, I got a new torch. So when we go to the other shop, I will be able to anneal and solder and all of that good stuff. So I'm really excited to add that to our shop, especially if we decide to do some chasing and repose on some of these armor pieces that I have in mind for us to do. So, you know, Mahalo posted that World of Warcraft wolf shoulder pauldron. We might be able to do something like that, something similar. Maybe not that specifically, but similar. Women are allowed to wear men's clothes, especially for work. So my pants are actually menswear. My boots are menswear. This jacket is actually women's wear, but the sweatshirt underneath is menswear. So I tend to wear menswear in the shop as much as possible because it's a little bit more durable. Menswear is a lot more rough, but it's also usually less stretchy and less synthetics. So yeah. Oh man, I thought you were gonna buy some cool blacksmithing related things, but no, jewelry. I know, right? So yeah, I mean, there are some blacksmithing related things that are on my list, but this winter is going to get really cold. And yeah, so this winter is going to be kind of cold, and there will be times where I won't be able to stream out here because it is so cold. So to be able to continue streaming and, you know, hang out with you guys, we've put together a jewelry shop. So we will be doing a little bit of silversmithing, chasing repose, and combining steel work with like some semi-precious stuff. Finding stuff with high enough cotton content is difficult. Women's clothes have too much polyester. That is so the case. It is so the case. But yeah. So today, like I said, we are going to be making a trivet. So basically, I want to make like a triangular trivet that has foldable legs. So we have 3 long pieces that look like this. And what we're gonna do is, it's round right now, and I know I probably should have just started with a flat bar instead, but I don't have any flat bars, so we're gonna flatten this and make our own flat bar. Then we're gonna curve it and make a triangle out of it. On the ends here, we are going to drift through a hole so that we can take these little guys and rivet the 3 together like so. And then hopefully, if my riveting works the way I have it planned, the legs will be able to fold in and out on this trivet. So that's the plan for the next 2 to 3 streams. Hopefully they'll be done before next Monday. That way we can start working on some armor pieces. So we shall see how neat and tidy I can keep these round into flat bar. I was watching Knott's stream yesterday, and he was talking about how you got to have patience to get neat work. And I'm definitely guilty of being impatient and just like telling myself that my work is good enough and I don't need to like make it pretty as long as it's functional. So I think we're gonna try our best to make it pretty this time. I've been trying to do things I can to start to finish in my streams. Yeah. See, that's really difficult for me, because I tend to do like shorter streams. primarily due to, you know, my physical health. I've only really gotten to the point where I can stream solidly for 3 hours relatively reliably. And so, you know, I kind of, my shorter streams and anything that I want to do longer, I have a tendency to, you know, just do it over multiple streams. But it's always nice to be able to do start to finish in a single stream, because then, you know, you watch the whole thing and you get the whole thing, right? So that's kind of why I've been doing a lot of more editing and short or long form videos on YouTube. Hopefully, you know, you guys, if you don't see the whole thing here, you can see the whole thing there. Hey, oh my God, Pete, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's see. Do we have enough heat? I know that it would be way more efficient to do this in the small forge, but it's so cold. I'm just using the big forge for heat. And, you know. All right, let's do a first heat. We'll see what we can do. It's nowhere near as hot as it can, or it should be. I know this, but, you know, I want to do something. So let's do something. All right, back in the forge. I'm using the big forge, but the mailbox is more efficient. Exactly, that's why. Oh, is that what I said? I'm sorry, guys. You guys aren't in my head with me, and so you can't hear my thoughts. So the reason why is because it's super cold, and I'm like shivering in my, you know, in my sweatshirts. And so I'm going to use the big forge for the excessive amount of heat that it produces. Oh, you're interpolating. Okay. Yes. It's inefficient, and therefore all of its inefficiency is going to keep me warm. Because it is less efficient. Yes, exactly. Produces more excess heat that I can use to keep warm. That's one of those things that I learned about when we were looking into heating the van. Is that a lot of heaters? Is that a hot drink? No, it's just water from the tap. I mean, we have a filter on the tap, but it's just tap water. The old problem about diesel cars is they are more efficient, but then in the winter you have additional heater. Yeah. So yeah, we were looking for a heater that we could use inside the van that would draw enough to heat the van, that like the miniature interior of the van, but not overload our power brick or our power supply. So we've been looking around, and we eventually came up with this tiny little thing. It's like a 500 watt little mini desk heater. How big is your shop? It is a single car garage. And then I think that shop back there is 15 by 15. And then I have about 20 by 15 amount of space in my basement. So that's kind of how big my space is that I get to spread out into. But yeah, so inefficiency is what heats heaters. So we kept seeing these like heaters that were like 1,500 watts or more, and we're just like, that would blow out our power immediately in less than an hour. And so yeah, we ended up getting a 500 watt little tiny thing like this big, and it works pretty well. It works pretty well. Think diesel heater. I mean, yes, that would be the best thing to use. Would be a diesel heater, or like at least maybe like a gasoline heater that might use the gas in the tank, so that I didn't have to, you know, have diesel in a separate tank. We were looking into those. We've also been looking into the mini propane heaters that run on the little camping tanks. But yeah, don't believe her lies. Eventually her shop will fill the entire 200 square foot house. She just hasn't had enough time to accumulate all the, yes, that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. They burn less than a gallon overnight. Ooh. So is that, or do you have one of those for your mini camper that you took to Quad State? Like I think you showed me a picture of your camper. Power hammer in the kitchen. Yeah. Although it might crack the tiles. I mean, if I put a power hammer in the kitchen, then that's totally going to reduce the value of the house. If I have to resell it yet, you know? Not yet. Oh, goodness. It's starting to get a little bit warmer out here. Let me turn up the forge just a hair. So I have absolutely no idea how much propane is in that tank, because we were using the mini forge, like the mailbox, for a little bit. Then we were using the big forge with it, and I was using the big forge yesterday, so it could be relatively empty, it could be relatively full, but I do have another propane container once this one freezes up or is empty. I'm sure you know that, but be very careful with burning anything inside a van. CO2 kills silently. Yes. Before we do any like diesel or propane heater, we will be putting in a CO2 monitor, like a carbon monoxide detector, just because, you know, we've got to have enough ventilation and enough like ways to get rid of the CO2, you know. You see videos of guys heating their garages with them as well. Yes. CO. Yeah, carbon monoxide. Yeah. Carbon dioxide is also can be a problem, but not as big of a problem as carbon monoxide. So originally, this garage actually had like a heater. It's over there. It's like an actual furnace, but it needs a tune-up, and we just don't have the money to tune it up right now. So eventually we might, you know, fix it up and get it running, but it's not in the cards right now. So I just gotta cuddle with the forge. I also have, you know, the oil heater, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to use the press, and I can't use the press and the propane heater at the same time, or it'll pop the circuit. Popping the circuit is not fun, because then I lose the stream, or at least the visuals on the stream. Did I even? I didn't. I'm an idiot, but that's all right. It's real nice to press record, guys. There we go. All right, so we have an ad that's going to be starting in about 3 minutes, so I'm going to do another heat. And yeah, CO2 is also problematic, but less toxic. Woohoo! 3 stream streak. Thank you so much for that support. Yeah, carbon monoxide is bad, bad stuff. All right, there's that. Stick that a little bit further. We're getting about halfway through there, but I really want to get the middle for our next heat. So, a couple weeks ago, I guess it wasn't last week, but it was the week before, Christ-Centered Ironworks did their yearly giveaway stream, and I won one of the rounding hammers from the giveaway. And so I sent them all my information and my address and stuff. And so we're waiting to see when it comes. So I went to the mailbox because Corwin also won something. And Corwin received his hammer rack already. So I went to look at the post office box to see, you know, if it came yet. And unfortunately it didn't. So when that comes, I will do an unboxing here live on stream, and hopefully it comes here shortly. I'm pretty excited about it. It's gonna be fun. You also got your item? Yeah, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Like I said, I went today. Maybe it will come later today. Like I said, I went to the post office box, but I went really early, so maybe it's there now because it's like in the afternoon. The Goddess of Stories, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the community. So yeah, I'm still waiting on the hammer. I was hoping that I'd be able to use this Trivet project as a kind of a first test run of this new hammer. So I'll see if I can't get it for Wednesday, if it's there at least. Roy must like me more than you. I mean, maybe, but I know for a fact that my post office is a little bit on the slow side with some of the stuff. Hopefully it arrives in a day or two. Yeah, I was really hoping that we'd be able to unbox it today because it would have been really fun to kind of, you know, check out how it works and everything. I've never actually had a rounding hammer, and I want to play with it, you know. And I promise, guys, I will try not to drink the Kool-Aid and become a only rounding hammer Andy. All right, so we are currently in an ad break, and once that ad is over, we will do another heat. Ooh. Man, not only are my hands cold, I actually cut my nails, like my fingernails, and the tips of my fingers always feel weird when I let them grow that long. It is one of the weirdest things. Huh. I think there was a skip. Like a lag skip. That's weird. So yeah. I don't know. Looks like the ad is over. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed that it didn't show up, but you know what? It'll show up when it shows up, and it will be fun when it does get here. I promise I will try not to become a single hammer person, you know, with only rounding hammers. I don't know that I will dislike it, but, you know, I might like it. It might become a daily driver. It might not. I have a tendency to, I feel like, you know, the more the merrier as far as tongs and hammers. You know, you want to use the right tool for the right job. So for me, like, you know, I love the cross beans. They are, you know, they're incredible because you've got that round face and then you've got the spreading cross face. That's really nice. I would love to get some straight peens and some diagonal peens, especially because I personally always hammer diagonally, and I think it would be easier for me to spread things with a diagonal peen. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yes, like I said, you know, I feel like multiple hammers, they all have different purposes, and I would like to use them all. All right, let's do another heat. I'm gonna be one of those hammer collector people, you know? More than one hammer for each day of the week, right? That's how things gotta work, right? Lots of hammers. Hey, Holy Zoinks! Thank you so much for that subscription. The re-up, thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see you guys. So I kind of told you guys a little bit about my Christmas. Did any of you guys do anything fun for Christmas? Did you get any good blacksmithing tools under the tree? Like I said, I got the lovely shirt and I got enough cash that I get to buy my own torch. Super excited about it. It's a pretty decent torch, and I should be able to get some good work out of that. I'm hoping that there's a big enough tip. I think there's a big enough tip that I might be able to bring it out here occasionally and, you know, heat up a rivet head or two with it, you know? I hope it'll be a good torch. Well, I guess I don't hope it will be a good enough torch because I know it's a good torch. It is the exact same torch that I used to use when I worked at the jewelry store. I kind of, normally I'm like, let's just buy a sample, you know, something that's relatively cheap, relatively easy to get a hold of and see if I like it. Well, I can't really justify doing that with a torch because I'm relatively familiar with different types of torches and what I'm looking for, what I like and what I don't like. So now I have to decide how I want to hold my torch, right? The usual, visited the parents, met some family, blacksmithing stuff under the tree would have been surprising for me. I can imagine. There are several of you that are here for the company and the how it's made ASMR factor, and less interested in actually starting to blacksmith themselves. And you guys are welcome too, you know. I love explaining things and showing how it's done and, you know, that sort of thing. No blacksmithing tools for you either, Knots. That's disappointing. So, but yeah, you guys are all welcome, no matter why you're here, you know? It's fun coming out here and talking and blacksmithing and mostly talking. Hopefully no BS, just real stuff. Hopefully. I'm hard to buy for when it comes to blacksmith tools. I see. Well, you know, that's also why I was given a lot of money so that I could make sure that I got the exact tools that I was looking for. So, yeah. I got a torch. I was actually, like, at first I was going to be really, really selfish and buy some video games with it. But I bought a torch instead because, you know, that I'm going to get more use out of the torch long term. And, you know, it gives me a little bit more stuff to show you guys. All right, let's do another heat. It helps when you follow the straight that you've already made. Another heat, and we should be able to start working on another one. We've got a little bit of thickness and a little bit of weird bumps and stuff that we need to take out of this. And then we'll be ready to start our second half, or I guess not half, our second third. You have all right to be selfish with your Christmas money. It's yours after all. I mean, that's true, but I'm trying to develop my repertoire of things that we can do here as well. So, you know, I think that's a little bit selfish sometimes. I find that trying to save money by choosing economy products ends up costing more in the long term because they either aren't suitable or they break sooner. Reviews on Harbor Freight products tend to complain about the quality, but I haven't tried them myself. So I oftentimes will buy things that I don't know if I'm going to use them a lot on Harbor Freight, or things that I know I'm going to use like one time and then I won't use them a lot or again for a really long time. And partially because, you know, it's cheap and, you know, if I only have to use a tool one time, even if it breaks, you know, it's still better than hiring someone to do that job. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So if I know that it's going to be a long-term tool and it's going to be something that I'm going to continuously use, I will spend the extra money to get the exact tool that I want. And that's exactly what I did for this torch. Like I said, I bought the exact one that I used at the jewelry store. I liked it. So now I have to decide how I want to be able to hold the torch. So when I was learning jewelry, I actually learned two different grips for this particular torch. You can do the overhand grip, and the overhand grip is great because you can turn on the torch one-handed. So you don't need your second hand. You can just like holding stuff and turn on your torch, right? It can be convenient. But the bad part about that is that all of your little torch tips, you kind of have to bend them a little bit. They're all kind of like this. You kind of got to put a 90 in them instead, right? So it kind of blocks the oxygen and propane flow a little bit. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do the underhand, which is kind of like holding like a pencil. Then it's a little bit easier to kind of direct your flame, but you can't open and close the valves one-handed. So that's probably how I'm going to do it, just because I don't want to restrict the flow. And But yeah, it should be a pretty good torch. If it's not, that there's something wrong with that particular torch, not the brand, if that makes sense. Harbor Freight has gotten better in the last couple of years. It definitely has. It's definitely got better. I was pleasantly surprised with the drill press that I bought from Harbor Freight. It actually worked beautifully. You know, I was very impressed. The expensive tools only make sense if they're going to be used a lot. Yes. Now, see, I wish that I had splurged a little bit more on the press because we use the press all the time. And, you know, there's a little bit of jank in it, and because I built it myself, so it would be nice if I had something a little bit more solid to work with. Not that it doesn't work, not that it's not a nice tool and I like using it or anything, just it would have been nice to have, you know, a little bit higher quality. I'd have to disagree. I worked for years with subpar tools as opposed to not working at all and complaining I don't have the right tool to do blacksmithing. And you are totally right, Knots. I would rather work with bad tools than not work at all, you know? That's partially why I buy the cheap tools. Is like I buy them so that I have something that I can work with in the moment. And then I can always replace that tool with a better tool down the road when I have the money to replace it, you know, or I need to replace it. So, I mean, there's many stances on that, but yeah, both are valid. So yeah. Okay, let's do another heat. I think I spend more time talking when I stream like this than I do working. But I think that's all right. We're going to spend a little bit of time truing up the edges of this. Oop, I accidentally locked the tongs on. Always the best. All right, I think that looks pretty decent. I got a few nice hammer marks in there, but nothing that I don't want there, you know? So we're gonna leave that one there for the moment, and we're gonna compare. We've gained a little bit of a length, but that's all right. I was expecting that. So we are going to try and match this guy with this guy. Let's heat him up. Neurotic Fox, welcome in. Thank you so much for that raid. Thank you. Welcome to the stream, guys. Are you making 3 legs of a trivet identically? You could heat a couple at a time to get your work time up. That's true, Butler, but then, you know, I wouldn't get as much time to talk. So yes, welcome to the stream. I am Ray. I am a blacksmith. I stream here on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 2:30 Eastern. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments about the blacksmithing, please don't hesitate to ask or, you know, comment. Yeah. Today we are making a trivet, which I honestly had no idea what a trivet was until earlier today when I looked it up. It's like a pot holder, apparently. but it's oftentimes a beginner blacksmith project, or I guess a simplistic blacksmith project, because you can make a really simple trivet or you can make a really complicated trivet. So we're kind of doing a little bit of a medium complication trivet. I'm going to do a little bit of riveting with it. We're turning round stock into flat stock. So there's some complications, and you know, it's also a little bit easier. Gotta run. Have a wonderful stream. Well, rest up and have a wonderful, you know, rest of your day. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, like I said, if you've got any questions or comments on the blacksmithing or anything else, you know, don't hesitate to comment. But yeah, we don't have too terribly much work on each of these little pieces. We just want to make some identical ones. Not too bad. I think that's pretty good. Like I said, we will be putting some, punching some holes in there and riveting them together. I might actually end up making these a little bit thinner and wider now that I think about it, because I was hoping to rivet it with the same width. So we'll kind of see what we can start with. I might end up slitting and drifting these guys. Make things a little bit more interesting and complicated. So I've got a nice there and there. Let's see what I've got as far as tools. Or I could make some. I might actually end up making a drift for this, depending on how long this project takes. Because I had a drift and I lost it. But I feel like drifts are one of those projects that you almost have to make a new one each time you want to use one. Almost. I tend to make them out of mild steel, which makes them very disposable. But I do have some sucker rod that I bought at the Indiana Blacksmith Conference, and I have yet to do anything with it. So I think making a drift would be a really good project for that. So we might make a drift on Wednesday. And then, you know, we'll drift the holes for the rivets in this trivet. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. All right, let's do another heat. The first heat on this new guy. But before I do that, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do a different view. That way I have some variety. And I think we're going to go and do this view over here. Variety. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea that that was even a thing. I'm sure the butler does, though. So I can touch the screen where I want to focus at. So like I was focusing on the edge of the anvil right here. And I can move it using the ring around the little set button. I can move that view. That's weird. Ooh, that was an errant blow, but that's all right. As long as we don't get too many of those, we'll be good. we're still thick enough to correct it as well. More heat, more heat. Not cool. I think I'm getting a little bit of laggy. I think at this point, if the only way to fix the lag, I think is going to be to stop and start the stream. So I think, unfortunately, we're just going to be a little bit laggy today. I don't even know if restarting the stream is going to fix it. So apologies. Hopefully I will have it fixed by Wednesday. I don't know why it's being so laggy. I don't know if it is because my internet is unstable or if it's just because something screwy is going on in the background of my laptop or what. It is a little bit windy. I would guess the internet. Yeah, it's a little bit windy today, and usually when it's windy, like, we have a little bit of issues with the stability. When it was your laptop, it looked different. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like it was the frame rate primarily when it was the laptop, so I think this is my internet. So hopefully it stabilizes, but I can't really guarantee that because, you know, the internet is not, that's not my domain, unfortunately. Hopefully, you know, it'll fix itself by Wednesday. We should still be cold for the rest of the week, so we won't be jostling from 70 to 12 anymore. It was more regular stuttering, going stuttering. Today I have irregular dropouts and then it comes back. That makes sense. I think that it's probably the internet then. So I apologize for that. I try my best. Okay, let's do another heat. I think that's all right. We're not going to be using the horn just yet, so I think we'll be all right. Eventually, we'll start using the horn a little bit when we're trying to bend these guys. To clean up these hammer blows a little bit. Now we're going to stick it in there so that we're heating up the central area more than the rest of it. If I take that and I put this next to it, we're looking pretty darn similar. Pretty darn similar. So I'm thinking what we're going to end up doing today is we're going to flatten all 6 pieces of this trivet and kind of set them up so that they are ready to be drifted if we end up drifting them. And I think we will. So I might actually, towards the end of the stream, we might start, we might cut a piece for a drift, but I think that might be a little ambitious for me. I am a little bit slow when it comes to blacksmithing. How are we feeling as far as heat? We're warm, but we're not too bad. Not burny. So that's not bad. Not bad at all. I think that we've got exactly what I want. All right, so it looks like we've got an ad starting in about 2.5 minutes. So I don't think we will have quite enough heat to beat the ad. So after that ad is done, we will do another heat, or our next heat. So yeah. Let's see. So on Wednesday, I released my last video, or the last video that I released, and that was the Jingle Bell one. So it got pretty good views, and I was pretty happy with it. We ended up doing another set of bells last Monday, which was the last stream that I did before this one, and I feel like we got some better bells than even the ones that were in that video. So I think a lot of them turned out a lot prettier. And so I actually ended up giving those to my family and friends. We ended up doing different clackers though, because the ones that I had cut were falling out of the holes. And I couldn't keep them in. So what we ended up doing is taking nuts and bolts nuts, and threading them through some binding wire and creating like larger clackers. They sounded pretty good, but the clackers were staying in a lot better. Some of them still came out when people really shook them, but they primarily were staying in. They were staying in pretty good, and a lot of people really liked them. So what I did is I put a wire wheel on my bench grinder, and we got all of the excess scale off that way. So it was pretty easy. And so yeah, we were able to finish them. I put paste wax on them to preserve them, and we put bows on them. They had red and white ribbon. So I thought they turned out pretty darn good. So I'm pretty excited about giving those away. I do still have one bell that we're going to post or put on the project wall. I have so many projects that I need to put up on the project wall recently. I have the barbecue grill set. I've got the axe. I've got the bell. I think I have the hairpin as well that we need to put up on the wall. And I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, and I have yet to do it. So eventually, hopefully, the butler will help me remember, and we'll put those up so that you guys can see them on the project wall. I think the propane is starting to freeze up a little bit. So we might have to replace the tank at some point in the near future, but it should be all right. I thought I was going to get some Jingle Bell blanks for Christmas, but I didn't, so I'm not doing them on a live stream. Welcome in, Ping. Welcome in. Hope you had an amazing Christmas. Pretty straight. Pretty good. Hey, it's sitting on its edge. That's impressive for me. I did. I hope you or yours was as well. Yeah, my Christmas was pretty darn good. Yeah, Butler, you are more than welcome to go to the gym. Thanks for monitoring as long as you did. I don't think there's anything we can do to fix anything else. So thank you. Yeah, my Christmas was great. We gave the jingle bells to my family, and everybody was like excited about them. They really liked them. I actually got the clackers to stay in, but not those specific clackers, but different ones. And then, so I got a shirt. My mom made a shirt. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to show the shirt again because it is super cold in here. But if you want to check out the VOD later, at the beginning of the stream, or I guess not the exact beginning, but like a little bit into the stream, I showed the shirt that my mom designed. It's a Raise a Smithy shirt. It says "More Heat." You can leave your hat on. But yeah, and then I also got enough money that I put in an order for a jeweler's torch for the secondary setup, and I'm really excited about it because it's the same torch that I used at Jared when I worked there. All right, let's do another heat. So it should be a good torch, a really good torch. Today we are making a 3-sided trivet. Which is one of those basic blacksmithing jobs that you can turn into as complex as you want. It can be simple, but it can also be as hard or as technically solid as you would like. This one shouldn't be too difficult, but it's a little bit of challenge. Not too bad. So we're taking this round stock and turning it into flat stock. So it's wider on this side and skinnier on that side. We're going to continue and work on this end for our next heat. We're making 3 sides. Well, I was hoping to go to the gym, and now the cat has discovered I trapped you in the screen and is demanding I free you. Well. Hi, Tungsten. Apparently the cat is watching the stream now. So yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult, but it could be a little bit challenging when I start lining up the pieces. So it's going to be a 3-legged trivet. I've got 3 legs, and they're going to be a triangle. I'm going to kind of curve them a little bit, and we're going to rivet them together with these little 3-inch legs. So all 3 of these pieces are going to get riveted together, and then this shorter leg is going to be able to fold out. So you can have a trivet that sits straight on the table like so, or you can have it sit higher on the table. And I learned today when I was looking up trivets, because I keep hearing about people making trivets, and I didn't really know what they were. But apparently, they're like pot holders, according to Google. And I thought that they were like campfire things, where you stick them over top of your campfire and you cooked on them. So, you know, it's interesting the multiple uses that I have heard of for trivets. So we're going to make one today, or this week. It's a multi-piece project, so it'll probably take me at least a couple streams. super excited that this guy sits on his edges because I'm always bad about putting things at an angle, right? Instead of doing rectangular and square profiles with 90-degree angles, I have a tendency to make parallelograms where I've got acute and obtuse angles. Tribbles, aren't they those things that multiply like crazy and infest space stations? I mean, maybe. Maybe I make this one trivet and then before I know it, there will be like 60 trivets and I will just like, the whole shop will be filled with them, right? That wouldn't actually be a bad thing. If the whole shop was filled with trivets, then I could sell them at a booth or something. Maybe people might like them. All right, let's do another heat. So we've been spending a little bit of extra time while the steel is a little bit more black or a little colder, because that's the best way to kind of flatten out the shapes and make sure that any errant blows get fixed. Because the extra coldness, it kind of gives us a little bit of extra rigidity. So we don't get a full forging blow ever when it's that cool. So we're going to compare these two again. Make sure that they are as identical as we can make them. I think they look pretty darn good. So I'm going to do one more heat to sharpen up the corners here. And then I will move on to our third piece. Trail duds keep asking me to make trivets on a live stream. I've never made one. Well, this is my first trivet too. Like I said, I didn't even know what one was. Like, I've heard so many blacksmiths have made trivets, but I was like, I don't know what it is. I know it's like usually something about this big around that's like can be simple or it can be as intricate as you want. Oftentimes people will make rondels out of them, but I had never made one before. Not sure what the butler will say if they have to dig you out of your work results after each stream, right? Avidocious, hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Whoops. So yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, you know, that sounds like a fun project. So I went over to Google and I typed in trivet and I looked at all the different designs, and the one that I wanted to do, every single time I look up projects on YouTube, and the one I want to do is always on Pinterest. And when I see them on Pinterest, I always wonder, is it AI or is it someone's actual work? So I don't know if it's AI or not, but we're making it real anyway. So the idea is to take these guys and kind of give them a bend. So they're not necessarily a semicircle, but I want to put a bend in them so that they kind of create like a Triforce kind of thing. Well, not even a Triforce because those have flat sides. But a triangular shape, but with curved sides. I've had an idea for a horseshoe trivet. Make it round and use the toe clips as the feet. Should be able to hold a coffee pot. Yeah, I've seen a couple designs that are very similar in idea to that. The other thing that I've seen a lot of people do is they bend because you got the U shape, and they'll bend the ends over and create the little feet out of that. All right, let's do another heat. Trying to crisp up those edges. But yeah. Not bad. I think that's pretty decent. Whoops. As I about drop it. We're about to drop forge things, right? Alright. There we go. 2 out of the 3 that we need. So let's put the third one in the forge. Oh, speaking of drop forging, I think it's this week. This week, I have a short that is all about drop forging. I took all of the times that I dropped. Which one was it that I dropped? I think it was the broken hammer. The hammer that I broke. I dropped it a whole bunch. And I made a short out of every time I dropped it. And so that's one of the shorts for this week. Because, you know, if you can't do things correctly, you can always laugh at yourself for your mistakes, right? All right. Those look pretty good together. We've got 2 out of our 3 that we need. Good idea, turning mistakes into content, right? You can also make a compilation of all the times you said, or we can drop it, right? Like taking lemons and making lemonade. Yes. And, you know, it's funny. People like seeing funny things like that. So a little comedy is always good. See, it is funny. So I noticed, like, one of the times when I dropped that hammer, I also dropped the tongs and the hammer while I was picking up the hammer that I had dropped initially. So there's that as well. It should be a fun one to watch. I don't remember what day that comes out. Sometime this week, though. A new meaning to the phrase drop forge. Yes. I did not come up with that. There's a lot of different blacksmiths that say that they drop forge something when they drop something off of the anvil. The category is called derailed. That would be a good category name, derailed. I feel like it would be a little bit too specialized with my name in it, though. But yes, the project gets a little bit derailed. I'm really glad, though, that I don't count me dropping the pieces as a strike, because I've got my 3 strikes and you're out rule, where if I make 3 mistakes, I just kind of quit for the day because, you know, if you get a catastrophic failure or if you injure yourself to the point where it stops your work, then at that point, I feel like my brain is not in it and I'm just going to keep making more and more mistakes. So if I've done 3 major mistakes, I will pack it in, right? Well, if I allowed myself dropping as one of my strikes, I would never get anything done. I would constantly be having to pack it in. All right, let's do our first heat on this one. But before we do that, let's change the camera angle. And what camera angle do we want? Do we want to absolutely straight on? Those are usually fun angles. I think we will do that. There we go. Now I have to figure out where I want to put the inset though. Good point. Keeps things sustainable long term. I try, right? Because I am definitely known to make large mistakes and keep on trying and make bigger and bigger mistakes every time. If I don't limit myself. My nose is starting to run. All right, more heat. But yeah, I have this habit where I am like, the more mistakes I start making, the more frustrated I get, and the more frustrated I get, the harder it is to continue working accurately and efficiently, right? I have a tendency to kind of jumble and mangle things. The longer I go, very frustrated. I get to the point where I start throwing things, and that's never good, especially if you're throwing things like tongs or hammers. So I know my limits. I'm not saying it's the best rules to live by, but it's my rule that I live by. Luckily, I think we've only ever gotten to 2 strikes. We may have gotten to 3 strikes one time, but I think that was like one of the first few streams that we did together. Especially if an expensive camera is facing you. Yeah, I mean, could you guys imagine? Wah! Right at the camera. That's also a reason not to wear gloves in the shop. So I have, you got your welding glove, your typical welding glove. And I definitely do not recommend wearing these on your hammer hand while you're using it. There's just not enough grip, right? I've constantly, it slips out of my hand when I'm wearing a glove. And I've thrown hammers before with thinner gloves than this. So I try very hard not to wear welding gloves while I'm hammering things. How are these doing? That one's a little bit hot. This one's still... Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to pick them both up. And we're going to stick them over here. Just so they don't fall off. Second rule, after one strike, it is a 1 camera stream from there if the strike hits the other camera, right? We were just talking earlier today about what we would do if one of the cameras died. The cameras that I used for the stream, one is a GH3 and one is a GH5, and those are both Panasonic. But they're starting to get really, really old, and they were well loved before I got them. So, you know, at someday, you know, they're going to die. And what we would do, and I think we're going to probably do a DJI Osmo for a wide camera when that inevitably does happen. And then we'll use whichever one didn't die as the close-up cam. At least that's the plan for now. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, that doesn't happen for a really long time because those cameras can get really expensive. But yeah, we've got plans upon plans. We also have plans on what to do when the microphone decides to completely give out. Occasionally we have some issues, but overall it's a pretty good lav mic. You could also get another used camera. We were also talking about that, but and it started because I was talking to the butler about what the most expensive tool in my shop was. And I was like, is it going to be this new torch that I just bought? Because the torch is a $600 torch. And it's a pretty expensive torch. But I was like, I'm not going to count the cameras and the laptops and like computer stuff, because obviously that's the most expensive, right? Because the cameras and the laptops they're way more than $600. And so the butler looked up how much a used camera was, and it was more expensive than when the butler got it new. So yeah. The way you described that, I thought you were going to say that there would probably be a funeral for the well-loved cameras. There probably will be a funeral for the well-loved cameras because they're super expensive. Super expensive. I don't want to buy another camera. All right, we're going to do another heat though. See, I lucked out because we already had these cameras. All right. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to flip this over just like so. We're going to start working on the other side. That's the advantage of only having having a handful of subs. I can use cheap webcams. That's very true. DJI makes good stuff. Are they still having tariff import issues? I'm going to say right now that while the plan was to get DJI stuff, I don't know that it's going to be possible by the time we get there, because there was a dead man switch in a law that got passed. And so the idea, or like the law says that if by such a date, which is January 1st, if they have not done an audit of like Chinese made like drones and products, then they will be banned in the United States. And they never did that audit. So in January 1st, you will not be able to get any DJI products from China anymore. So yeah, we may not be able to use DJI products, like the actual brand, because until they audit them and figure out whether they are safe or not, and they clearly are, because they aren't monitored by the Chinese DJI like data centers. They're monitored by data centers here in the United States, just like TikTok. Yes, it is the TikTok crap all over again. Is that Panasonic Lumix G5? I'm not familiar with the Panasonic lineup. Yes, it is. It's a Lumix G5, I think. And then the close-up cam is a G3. But yes, Mahalo, it is exactly the TikTok stuff all over again. And I will repeat the Panasonic thing again because I think Sandwich is under the ad right now. I see the G5 having been sold used here for €245. Oh, you are here. Okay. Yeah. The one that we got, or like the G5 here, from the website that we were looking on, it's like $600 or something like that. And these two particular cameras, like the literal cameras themselves, we actually got them free initially. Yeah, that's really expensive in comparison to €245. I mean, because €245 is probably closer to $400 or $500 here, because the euro is more than, the euro is up in comparison to the dollar, but I don't think it's that much. But yeah, so these literal cameras used to belong to one of the local news stations, and we acquired them after they were decommissioned. Hey, Blue Red Metal, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for that sub. Thank you so much. 2-month streak. That's exciting. Thank you so much for that support. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, they were news cameras, and now they are raise-a-stream cameras. So eventually they're going to die. They've lived a good long life and have been well loved. Someone is currently selling a G8-1 set with lenses for €369. Not sure how the GH1 compares, or the G8-1. I don't know. You are welcome. Some interesting content all of the time here. I try. Oh, I guess now is the ad break. I thought we were already on ads. Goodness. Once this ad is over, I will do our next heat. I'm just talking, and not paying attention to what I'm doing. Goodness gracious. You know what I really, really want? I want soda. I was drinking a Mountain Dew this morning, and that sounds really good. I don't really want to continue drinking this water, but I'm going to because it's better for me than soda. Considering how often I send sparks at my camera, I tend not to spend a lot on my cameras. I mean, that makes sense, I tend not to spray my cameras with sparks typically. And when I do, I usually have an operator who it will quickly move the cameras out. Back. Sorry, Mr. Comment. Yeah, I don't know how the G8 one compares either. As far as cameras. But yeah, I tried very hard to position the cameras such that maybe the stands maybe get a little bit of sparks, but the cameras themselves do not. Plus, I also have UV filters over the lenses, so if the lenses did get hit by sparks, the UV filters are there to take that hit, and they twist right off, and you can replace them. I don't drink a lot of soda now. I make my own kombucha and drink that. I've never had kombucha, but my brother-in-law was trying to turn us on to it over Christmas. Apparently it's like a cross between coffee and tea. I don't know. Let me check my camera real fast to make sure that I'm still recording, and then we'll do another heat. But yeah, I really want some soda right now because, I don't know, I just want some flavor. Oops, that's bad. I'll have to twist this. I accidentally started the flattening at an angle, but I can fix it. Or at least I hope. I should be able to. All right, another heat. They're starting to get close. So if you compare the two, this one's a little bit longer, but this one has still got a little bit of flattening I need to do on it. So we'll heat it up again. They went in late November for 230 euros and lowered several times to 115. Not sold yet. Oh, for a G6. Wow. That's a good deal. I wonder how much it would cost to import it, because I mean, it would definitely be subject to tariffs. Kombucha is a fermented tea flavored with fruits and berries. I flavor mine with pineapple, blueberries, and strawberries. I did cold brew some coffee once. Flavor the kombucha with that. It was good. See, I'm not really a big coffee drinker myself. But I don't know. If somebody had some kombucha that they wanted to share, I might try some. But I don't know that it's something that I'm brave enough to order on my own, that I would have to finish all of it, because I don't know. I'm willing to try stuff, but I'm less willing to try stuff or like order new stuff to try, if that makes sense. So yeah. I don't know. What was I? I had something I was going to talk about, and I forgot what it was. I'll have to think about it for a bit. Oh, what I was going to say is I have some Earl Grey tea, like just black tea. And that's really what I should drink because it's warm and I'm cold right now. So yeah, camera or tea related? It was tea related. We could talk more about cameras, but I feel like the butler is a much better versed in cameras than I am because, you know, the butler is a professional video guy and often uses Micro Four Thirds for film purposes. The butler just won their 6th Emmy this year. So yay, Emmys. I keep saying, when you gonna, you know, bring your Emmys over here and help me? If you buy it, you want to get the stuff in the glass bottles and in the refrigerated section. The ingredients should just be raw kombucha and the flavorings. Do not get the pasteurized stuff. Huh. So what is the pasteurized stuff? Is it just because the pasteurization process, which is usually like a boiling process, just doesn't work very well for it? Does it modify the flavors? I don't know. But yeah, the butler is really versed in cameras, and anytime they need a new setup, a new kit for all of their people, they always ask the butler to come up with a list of which products to buy. And every couple years they do that. And so the butler spends like a week researching. Okay, we are back. I think we're back, but we had a drop where we actually dropped all the way out. So apologies. I hate when that happens. Yeah, that was internet related because I refreshed our stream, like my monitoring, and it dropped out too. So yes, we are back. We are back. Hopefully that's our last dropout. Apologies. Okay, I'm gonna do another heat while I got you guys. There's that. Grab one of these guys. Let's compare them. Pretty similar. Not too bad. I think I'm going to do one more heat just to kind of, it's a little tiny bit short. So I want to get that extra length just a little bit. We should be able to get it in one more heat. Hey, Lexi. Hello, hello. So yeah, apologies for that dropout. But yeah. So kombucha changes flavor, and you don't get the benefits of the probiotics if you pasteurize it. Okay. So yeah, I apologize. What time is it? I gotta actually pay attention now to what time it is, because that dropout reset my timer. Normally I have a timer on my monitoring system, and it tells me when we have been going for 2.5 hours. And this time I don't have that. So I guess I will have to, play it by ear or, pay attention to what time it is. I never bought a camera used so far, but most of my lenses. You are approaching 2 hours, I think. I'm pretty sure that we're at 2 hours because we are at 3:30 my time, and I start at 1:30 my time. I always tell people that it is, we start at 2:30 Eastern because I feel like Eastern is an easier time zone to understand than Central is. So we do have an ad starting in about 2.5 minutes or so. Let's see, do we have enough heat? Yeah, we'll do our last heat on this one. It's 22:22 here, nice number, and you usually start at 20:30. Yep, sounds about right. 10:30. All right, last heat on that one. So we've got all 3 of our sides completed. So now we're gonna start working on the legs. So we've got 3 little legs here. We should be able to finish those in time. That way we'll be able to start drifting the corners on all of these guys. We're gonna put 2 of these guys in here at a time because they're really teeny. The notification mail came at 20:32. So it's 1 hour, 51 minutes now. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll put these over here. And this one as well. This guy's a little bit too hot to sit over there with the rest of its brothers or sisters or siblings. I don't know. Something like that. It's still cold. I don't like it. I'm actually impressed for how long that I've been able to use this propane tank. I expected it to die before the end of the stream. So, I mean, there's still time for it to die. We've got about a half an hour left in the stream. Hopefully it sticks around that long. And then we'll start with a fresh tank on Wednesday, and the fresh tank is sponsored this week by Mahalo. So thank you, Mahalo, for sponsoring a propane tank. And I will repeat that on Wednesday when we have the new tank hooked up to the forge. And when we're not on ads. Yeah, thanks, Mahalo. I'm gonna start labeling tools, right, for all of the different sponsors. You know, I'm gonna put like the name of the person that paid for them, maybe. Because you know, I've got a new torch Now we're just dropping frames. Are we, I think we're okay now. Goodness gracious. Oh, I'm sorry. It's got to be the internet, right? It's definitely the internet. I think it's just, Twitch kind of takes a specific high enough bandwidth, and when my internet drops a little bit lower, I can still like game and stuff, but streaming becomes an issue. Yeah, we got some scuff. Annoying, but it happens. I apologize. All right. We've got 2 pieces that we're ready to go, and I'm going to change the camera angle real fast. We're going to go back over to the first angle. Huh. Interesting. All right. Twitch just wanted to reset the timer so it can show more ads, right? Okay, so I'm having an issue. And it's not just the internet right now. So my close-up camera it kind of died. I can't get it to turn back on. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on with it. So I think with the camera and the instability, I think I'm probably going to end the stream. Yes, I talked too much about it dying, and now it wants to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to, I think because we have so much scuff, I am going to end the stream, and I will be back on Wednesday, fingers crossed, with less scuff. So I apologize. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And like I said, we will be back on Wednesday. So thank you so much for joining me and tolerating all this scuff. Camera, oh, I was not sure dying was an option. Let's do that. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Boo. I know. You guys too, have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye, Ray. See you later. All right. I'm gonna raid off. Let's see who's available. Who do we got? Let's go hang out with Miramac Mud. New Year's Eve is our next stream. Yes. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you Wednesday. Bye.